And good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Blind Press YouTube channel and coffee stream, episode 426. And it is Wednesday, and it is Wednesdays with Skep. How are you today, Skep?
Hi, I'm fine. It's a sunny and kind of a pretty day down here. Very a little bit of wind kicking up here in the southern United States. Texas is occasionally beautiful in
Occasionally.
June and July. August and like the first week of September are just our brutal. That's our brutal
Oh,
time
yeah.
for temperatures. But this is the time of summer when Mother Nature will occasionally give you a break.
It's been raining quite a lot here for
Yeah.
July. Like, it's been. And I don't mean just like drizzly days. I mean like my house sounds like it's being power washed quite often.
Yeah, it's real water recycling.
Yeah.
Well, it's it's good for you. I mean, we're in the midst of a I forget 14-year long drought or something here in Texas. We're
Oh, wow.
almost out of it. We're almost out of it. We really made a lot of headway this spring. You never hear the climate folk talk about a mild spring.
Nope.
They only ever, this sure is hot today. Yeah. What do you think about climate warming now? They
You
never.
also never hear them talk about ridiculously frigid winter.
Right, exactly. Or they'll say it's climate disruption.
Yeah.
That's a dodge that they use. And unfortunately, I believe that there's truth at the bottom of their arguments. I believe that there is real reason to be concerned about man's effect on the environment
Absolutely.
and that we may have damaged it possibly irreparably already, and we don't know it, but we're actually already in the tipping point. We've already tipped. We just, we're in, falls don't hurt till you land.
Yeah.
We're in that mode.
We are the whale.
We're the what?
The whale. If you remember the Hitchhiker's Guide to the
Oh
Galaxy,
yes, yes, yeah, absolutely,
we are the
absolutely.
whale.
Didn't even think about that. Yes.
We're just, oh, look at this. Oh, look, this is a wonderful sensation I'm feeling. Oh, what's this attached to me? Oh, I think I'll call it a tail. Oh, look at this. Like, that's us
Yep.
right now.
That's
We're
exactly.
the whale.
We are the whale. But you
And
heard
then
it
we
here
are
first.
about to become the bowl of petunias.
Yeah. Did you know that your light just went off in your office? So we're seeing this ghostly face of yours. Just
No, I did
for the
not. Let me
light.
go fix that.
Yeah, you need to turn on your light. And it was on.
Oh,
Meanwhile, while Blind Press is gone, I'll entertain you as we see that she successfully has turned on the lights, and we can see into her room, including some sort of exercise vehicle that is in back of her chair. You put on the earphones yet? Gonna take that as a no. So anyway, who is in chat today? Has anyone showed up for this? Or nope, we don't have a single comment yet. So there you go. What are you gonna do? I guess we're just talking to ourselves. I'm not sure that we. Um, I'm not sure we're talking to anybody. It may just be us.
better?
Yes, much better. I was
Okay.
just commenting that we don't seem to have any viewers right now,
Yeah.
so we're basically doing this stuff for us. But
Oh, hey, Asia Research Directorate. Hey, Grill and Pirate Pete.
oh, there they are. So
They're trickling in.
they're coming in slowly but
P
surely.
Dog is probably just
Yeah, I
wrapping up,
see
so
Pete there.
that's probably P Dog's. So what usually happens is I go live and it takes a few minutes for people to trickle in because P Dog is usually wrapping up. So yeah, it takes a few minutes.
So anyway, other than talking about the weather, are, what is the feeling in Canada as the United States comes apart, because you're really seeing some pretty basic things start to fail in the United States right now.
Well, see the problem, and I kind of brushed on this last week, and Functional did send his apologies for missing last week. So, but he I wanted to talk about the fact that both countries, both the states and Canada, are kind of projecting how shitty their countries are onto each other right
Yeah,
now,
yeah, I think there's some truth in that.
instead of like looking into their own, you know, shit pile and trying to fix it. They're kind of like, it's schadenfreude a little bit. It's like, oh, look at the, like, you've got, every time something dumb happens up here,
Hmm.
you get, people that I subscribe to that are Americans that jump on live streams saying, "Oh, look how stupid Canada is,"
Well,
and it's like,
Canada does some pretty silly
"Oh
things
yeah,"
sometimes with Dancing
but
Bear as the prime
you
minister.
look, and that, but then it's like, okay, we get it, but we also glass houses.
Right? No, absolutely. Then Joe Biden says, "Hold my laxative."
Right? Joe Biden comes out and says over 150 people voted for in the U.S. election. Uh huh.
Yeah. What does
I
that mean
would fucking
precisely?
hope so.
Oh my God.
It's like, and it's just very frustrating because it doesn't get us anywhere.
No, no, it really does not.
And we
But
have the ability to be cooperative nations. And when
yes,
we do cooperate, we get a lot of shit done.
we're world beaters. We absolutely are. I mean, Canada, United States working together is the way things ought to be. And you're absolutely right. I mean, one of the things that unites us is our language. It's one of the reasons that Mexico will never be a partner with America the way that Canada is. Canada is a mostly English speaking country. I mean, it's got one province that is overwhelmingly French speaking.
It's got one province is overwhelmingly French speaking, and therefore everybody in Canada must learn French for
Yes,
10
exactly.
years.
Right.
It's like.
And
It's.
French is a like a precursor language to English.
Yeah.
And there's so much in French you can't say the way that you can say stuff in American. But there's very little in American that you can't say in French. What I mean is French is not a language that is rich. I probably said that wrong. French is not a language as rich in idioms and complex meanings as English is. It just isn't.
Nope.
It literally has fewer words. Uh, uh,
You could get.
French in the dictionary is about 110,000 words, 105,000 words.
You could get more idiomatic and colloquial language out of Spanish than you can out of French.
You can, and that's actually one of the principal differences in terms of structurally
That's why I like Spanish so much.
between Spanish and French is that Spanish is so rich in idiom,
Yeah.
much more rich than French is. But I mean, Spanish has its own problems, but it's actually a better put together language, in my opinion.
Yep.
And I've taken classes in Spanish and French, although I speak French a lot better than my Spanish.
As soon as I could, I ditched French.
I hear you.
Well, I have, and I
You,
have
you
French
did,
speaking family, but
yeah.
I just, as soon as I could stop, like as soon as I was able to stop taking French at school,
Hmm.
I switched to Spanish.
See, in 1960 in Belgium, there weren't any kids who spoke English. I
Mm.
didn't. I had to learn French. It was sink or swim.
And you learned Dutch French, right?
I learned Belgian French.
Belgium
It's not.
French.
Yeah,
That's right.
it's not Dutch French. I mean, there's a separate
There is
language
a
spoken
difference.
in Belgium called Flemish,
Yeah.
which is a dialect of Dutch.
Did you ever learn any Flemish?
Oh yes, absolutely. I used to one summer. My dad stored a color TV for a friend,
I
and I plugged it in.
was gonna say, were you allowed to use it?
It was up in our attic, and we had a finished attic in the little townhouse home we lived in. In Belgium, things are built vertically.
Mm.
I lived in, you know, a like 3 bedroom, 4 story house, and up
Hmm.
on the fourth story was this cool room that had the Encyclopedia Britannica in it and this TV. So that was like my office. And I went up there and would watch Bonanza dubbed into Flemish.
Hmm.
So you would hear this "Das ist der Virgelheek, little Joe." Exactly. They had exactly the same theme. Everything was the same until the actor spoke, and then you heard "Das ist a Vashada Haas." You know,
That's so funny.
you know. So yeah. So you and little kids, you're going to sit there and you're going to pick up some of the stuff, and you're going to recognize that, oh, he just said okay, oh, he that means yes, this means no, and so I picked up a few things, but nothing that really stayed with me much. Dutch Dutch is, I would put Dutch up as one of the most fucked up languages. And it's too bad because Dutch people are really nice. I really like the country, like the people there, the attitude, everything else. But Dutch is that betwixt and between language that is just not. It's really really hard to learn, and it's not spoken by many people. So they're just kind of toast on that. But anyway, how I do go on. I don't know why I'm spurting so badly today, other than maybe I'm on the spectrum. But so the bill to outlaw CBD in Texas failed.
Good.
They they blew it by accidentally letting it die in committee. They didn't realize, for somebody lost track of it. This is the story we're getting, and it did not come out of committee in time. And if things don't come out of committee, they die in committee. It has to be there. It's all new stuff every legislative session, and so a lot of people in Texas are very happy about that because they can get their CBD for pain relief and relaxation, stuff
As
like
they
that,
should be able
as they
to.
should be able to. And I myself am swearing by CBD these days for helping with my cramping problem, my muscle cramps. So
Yep.
really solid. I wish they would go ahead and just decriminalize everything, which I think is going to happen in Texas probably within 5 to 10 years. You have a lot of rock rib conservatives who hate that stuff down here, but you're starting to get they're starting to get old and not go out and vote so much.
Well, that's the
Texas is
thing
getting
is
more liberal.
that's the thing is that most conservatives are getting younger, like because
Pepperidge Farm remembers.
there are younger people like in their 30s
Yeah,
and 40s that
yep.
are conservative leaning, but are like, yeah, legalize pot, yeah, you know,
That's a conservative
just
position to me. That's a libertarian,
yeah.
conservatarian position. I don't cede that to the left at
No.
all. Even though a lot of them feel that way, that's good. I hope I can change your mind about other things. But that wasn't their idea.
Yeah. No, there's there's a, like I was saying on Minions last night, there's a lot of, like, it's of course there are some, still some older and some religious fundamentalists
Oh yeah.
that are still like, no! But for the most part, most logical people that are conservative leaning are not as ridiculously right wing as some would have you believe.
Mm.
They're much, in fact, much more left wing by old conservative value
Yeah.
than you would think. They just, are like, no, let's not be communist, and you know, let's not run away with, let's not put the horse before the cart here, but let's give people the freedom to make choices. If you're an adult and you want to smoke pot, you shouldn't be thrown in jail for it. If
Agreed. Agreed completely. My God. How hard is that?
and if you're struggling with uh, a horrible addiction, let's try to encourage you to get help instead of like demonize you.
I'm sorry. I'm just reading Pincalo's post. He said, "Fucking Google Maps just told me my route through Guelph and Cambridge or Cambridge, maybe
Cambridge.
Cambridge, may be affected by fires at the Manitoba border." Then crazy laughter.
What the fuck? The Manitoba. Okay, so Google Maps told him his routes through Guelph and Cambridge are going to be affected by the fires at the Manitoba border. Just for your just for your curiosity, because I know you're gonna want to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Just look up where Guelph and Cambridge is in comparison to the Manitoba border.
All right, let's look at this. There's Guelph right there in Ontario. Oh, it's in Ontario. That's right. I actually knew that. If I thought about where Guelph is, I actually know where Guelph is. Yeah, Guelph is right where I thought it was, and that can't be more than. I'm going to give you an exact number here. That can't be more than 200 miles, 400, 600. 1,400 miles away, would you say? Or 1,200? I don't know. Around there, 12 to 1,400 miles away.
He's like, that's like saying a fire in Corpus Christi is affecting Wichita Falls.
No. Actually, if you really want to know what that would be about 300 miles. No. It's like saying a fire in Miami Beach seriously is affecting Chicago. That's what it's like. That's about the same distance away. Miami, Chicago.
Great job, Google Maps. Great job.
Or that's a big fucking fire.
That's like when the meteor that killed the dinosaurs hit fire.
Yes.
That's what that fire is.
I thought you had made the comparison of Corpus Christi and Wichita Falls. I didn't realize you were reading an entry from chat. I just looked over chat and saw that Pinkal was actually the one who said that. So
good,
do you say Guelph or Guelph?
Guelph.
Guelph, okay. Because on va dire en français Guelph.
Yes.
But you would never put the W sound in there. I did that. Thank you, the Asia Research Directorate, for the correct pronunciation there. Appreciate that.
That's just funny. Well done, Google Maps.
That's a big goddamn fire.
That's wow.
That's going to cause an extinction event. I think. because just from
That's
the
like
ash in
that's
the
like
atmosphere, it's going to cool off the Earth. We'll have
that's
another ice age.
Permian.
Yeah, Permian
That's
shit.
Permian
That's
level.
Permian shit, man.
That's
Guelph. I have to practice my. You know, I have a little file in my brain of all the cities that the pronunciation is different from the way it looks.
ah
The way that it's spelled.
like a Pomatox.
Yeah, Appomattox is, that's actually one that reads just like it's spelled. But Appomattox, I don't know how they
That
got
makes
that.
still makes me laugh.
That's just that's so. There are parts of Britain where they do that quite a bit, where the emphasis is always on the second syllable.
Mm.
And Appomattox, that's how words get shortened. But
This
anyway,
sounds like a Shakespearean insult. An Appomattox on your
yeah, a
house.
pox on both your houses kind of brings to mind. Yeah, Picallo pointed out helpfully there are no roads up there. Oh me, helpful information. Pincal's just trying to find out about his drive, right? I mean, he's just a guy trying to work his way through life, do the best he can for his family. He's a completely admirable person, and so Google tells him about a a fire that apparently covers a substantial part of the surface of the earth. This
It's
mythical fire.
surprisingly not covered by any news outlets.
Yeah, strange that they're ignoring such a large fire, considering it's the end of the human race. You did make the effort. Oh my god,
Holy
that's so
shit,
funny.
Google. Wow.
That's really funny.
So I've got a story that I'm about to share the screen for. So I think it was last, or 2 years ago, 2 years ago, the wife of a very, very, very rich businessman in Canada, who is, he's one of the dragons on the Canadian show, Dragons. Yeah, the Canadian version of Dragon's Den.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin O'Leary is his name. And his wife, a couple of years ago.
Why do I know that name?
Well, he did run for the Conservative leadership of Canada.
That's you and I have talked about this guy, haven't we? Yeah. Okay.
But his wife was operating their motorboat drunk.
Oh, I know about this. Yes.
And hit somebody. So this is a story about the prosecution or the prosecutor's investigation, because this is now at the trial stage. So yeah, they're looking at. Hold on. So
they're looking for a mysterious vodka drink. Linda O'Leary.
She drinks a whiskey drink. She drinks a cider drink.
I get knocked down, but I get up again.
Anyway,
we're just going to say this all through a song and see if we can, have royalties for the rest of our lives. All right. Anyway, it's funny because if you know anything about Chumbawamba and Tub Thumping and all the Chumbawamba, that I never say their name right. They're like a bunch of anarchists. They're crazy people who claim they don't care anything about money, but that's wrong. Anyway, prosecutors look for mysterious vodka drink Linda O'Leary said someone gave her after the fatal boat crash. People always drink afterwards. I wasn't drunk when I was driving. What are you even talking about? I started drinking after the crash. Okay. Yeah. Although O'Leary told the officer she had not been drinking before the crash, all right. None of the witnesses who were inside the O'Leary's cottage recalled giving Linda O'Leary an alcoholic beverage after the fatal boat crash in Ontario's exclusive cottage country, as prosecutors at her trial explore. The Mysterious vodka she said someone gave her after the crash. 4 longtime friends of Trevor O'Leary, the son of Linda and Kevin O'Leary, testified they were at a bonfire with Trevor overlooking a dark but tranquil Lake Joseph north of Toronto at the time of the nighttime crash on August 24th, 2019. You rotate that down, please.
Eh, 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 eh. Cute. There we go. Stupid YouTube video. There we go.
All right. Francesca Hawks, 24. Aaron Lengel, Samuel Unpronounceable, and Totally Unpronounceable, each described seeing the lights of the O'Leary boat returning to the cottage where there was a loud bang in the dark, followed by lights suddenly turning on aboard a much larger boat and the loud creak of a bottle of vodka being opened. The group ran down to the dock to help. Kevin O'Leary, star of the Dragon's Den and Shark Tank television series, was unhurt other than a cut finger, the court heard. Linda O'Leary had a swollen ankle, and a family friend, Allison Whiteside, had a gash on her head. Unknown to them at the time, 2 people aboard the other boat had serious head injuries and were pronounced dead. Yeah. Okay, go down a little bit, please. When police arrived at the O'Leary cottage to investigate, court heard Monday an Ontario provincial police officer gave Linda O'Leary, who was driving the boat, a breath test, which showed a warning alert for alcohol, and her license was suspended. Although she told the officer she had not been drinking, she later said she had a vodka and water after the crash, which someone gave her when she got to the cottage, the officer testified. Vodka and water, because you do, right? O'Leary is fighting a charge of careless operation of a vessel at a trial in Parry Sound, Ontario. Story continues below. So,
let's see here.
There you go. Oh, okay. Each of the young witnesses, including Trevor, said they did not serve Linda O'Leary an alcoholic drink, nor did they see anyone else serving or drinking alcohol after the crash. So she just admitted that. Tauber said he did take O'Leary a glass of water that was on the counter and put it beside a bedside table. He later refilled it with water when he saw it was empty. Asked by a federal Crown prosecutor, Jonathan Thompson, if he was certain it was a glass of water he gave her, he said, "I assume so, but didn't know 100%. I just grabbed it instead of testing it like I usually do when I draw a glass of water." Not everyone in the cottage that evening has testified. Neither Kevin O'Leary nor Linda O'Leary have taken the stand, and it is uncertain whether either will. Okay, down a little bit, please.
Oh, what a... Wow.
All right. Let's see. All right. Court also heard details for the first time of the dinner party that the O'Learys were returning from at the time of the crash. Lisa Unpronounceable, a Toronto interior designer who has known the couple for 20 years, was at a dinner for 10 hosted by a lakefront neighbor. Who cares? Stereo said O'Leary's wine glass was upside down on the dining room table during the meal, signifying she didn't want any of the wine from the bottle served with dinner. Go down a little bit, please.
Okay, so she didn't drink any wine.
All right. Under cross-examination by Unpronounceable, one of O'Leary's lawyers, Stereo said that Linda O'Leary was the couple's designated driver, or DD. Linda was the DD, so Linda doesn't drink and drive, Stereo said. She's mentioned it a few times because she was like, "Kevin, I'm always the DD. I'm always the DD." Stereo said O'Leary called her after they left the party, sounding like she was in shock, to let them know about the crash. The next morning, Stereo texted O'Leary to see how she was doing and received a phone call in response. O'Leary asked her to be discreet about the crash. She said, Don't let people know this has happened, strictly because we both know a lot of people on the lake, so they wanted to keep it hush hush until things worked out. And please don't let them know I was drunk as a skunk. Thank you. Stereo said that was the gist of the conversation. I had a little there. O'Leary was a private person and didn't like people gossiping about her. Stereo told court the young witnesses from the bonfire each described the crash similarly, saying that shortly after the loud bang, lights on a much larger boat suddenly turned on. It was completely dark, then it all lit up. Huge floodlights came on, said somebody, and the boat appeared out of nowhere. Go down a little bit, please. Find it where turned on. Okay. Their evidence contrasts testimony from previous witnesses who were on the larger boat who said their vessel was lit during their stargazing trip. Richard Ruh, who was driving the larger boat, earlier pleaded guilty to failing to exhibit a navigation light, but testified he did so only to avoid additional legal fees. Two passengers in the bigger boat died from the collision. Susan somebody and Gary something else. She's from Ontario and he was from Florida. The trial continues.
So yeah, I don't know. Like, this is all very, like, they have a lot to lose if this is.
Well, yeah. The problem is she has to have the phantom glass of vodka because she has to explain the alcohol on her breath when the policeman talked to her.
Yeah.
And that seems untraceable. Nobody is going to lie for her to corroborate it, but if she presents it as evidence and they can't impeach her on some basis, then the court will accept that as evidence, and they'll say, okay, that's clearly what the deal was. That's why she had that on. She would have showed much more if she had been packing on more. And
she's doing this to establish reasonable doubt.
Oh yeah, very definitely.
Because this is a criminal trial, right? So
this also makes exactly the criminal. The civil is going to be a whole nother thing that will happen very quietly, and that will never go to trial.
That's going to be a settlement.
There'll be a courtesy meeting between counsel and a check will go out that day.
Well, because in a tort lawsuit, it's more likely than not
right.
Beyond a reasonable doubt. So there's more wiggle room.
They say reasonable likelihood.
Yeah.
That's what they. Yeah.
So it's more like there's more wiggle room in a tortious case.
Yep.
So they will settle very quietly.
Yep. Your tort laws are very weak up there.
Yeah, but they're doing this to establish reasonable doubt, because if there is
reasonable doubt about what,
or reasonable doubt about how drunk she was, or about careless operation.
I agree with you. And when she was drunk, that's the most important.
Yeah,
thing.
and when she was drunk, yeah.
Yep.
Because if she can't do that, then she's going to get a careless operation plus a negligent homicide charge.
Oh yeah.
And then that's
maybe a manslaughter.
Maybe a manslaughter charge. I doubt a manslaughter charge because of her money. I think it would go to careless operation, negligent homicide, house arrest. I think is what it would happen. What we
shall see.
But if she gets away with establishing this reasonable doubt, then she could very well get away with careless operation and possibly skate on the deaths, and have Kevin just write a nice check to the family,
and it all goes away. Everybody's happy except the two dead people,
except the
orphans and so forth.
Except the two dead people and the orphans, and
What are you gonna do? Can't make everybody happy. You know, gonna make omelets. You got to break a few eggs. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
The Pinkell said something interesting. He said boating has harsher boat, drinking and operation regulations. Is that right in Canada? And is that
Now
a
that
Canadian law or is that provincial?
he mentions it, that is true. They are very, and it is provincial.
So the
Um,
provincial law has a lower alcohol tolerance. Do you know if that's it or if
if I don't know what the alcohol limit is for boating and drinking, but I know that if you have, if you are caught operating a boat with, and you have, definitely if you have alcohol with you, you are very screwed. I've heard, Pincalo told me recently,
if you have alcohol on the boat,
yeah,
really?
yeah, you people need to be very careful with um, having alcohol on the boat because you can get hit. Pincalo, I think Pincalo said something about um, people getting hit while being drunk on a canoe.
This is interesting.
I'm not too sure though because I'm
In
not.
Ontario, if your boat's equipped with a permanent toilet, cooking facilities, and sleeping facilities, boat passengers may legally consume alcohol. However, the boat must be anchored or docked.
Yeah, you can't not be like or like moving around on the lake
And sea anchors don't get.
and and whatever drinking, like having your passengers drinking, you have to be anchored or docked
Right.
to allow that.
Interesting. So,
But
yeah,
I have not looked at the boat regulations for like speed boats or like bass boats.
okay, you are under the influence, and this is in Canada anywhere. If you have a blood alcohol concentration in excess of 80 milligrams or 0.08%,
Yes.
and your BAC level is determined with a breathalyzer or blood test, and so forth. 80 milligrams means drunk,
Drunk.
boating.
Yeah.
You are done. Zero point zero 0.08, you are done. And 65% of the boating related accidents in Canada involve alcohol consumption. First offense is a fine of $600. Second offense is a minimum fine of $600 and at least 14 days in prison and a whipping. At third or subsequent offense is a minimum fee of $600 and at least 90 days in prison. And then they have provincial uh, superseding laws for if you uh, uh, for the maximums. So those are minimum. Those are the minimum suggested penalties,
Yeah.
and the maximums I bet are far longer. And
We take boating very like we take boating safety incredibly seriously up here
oh yeah,
because we have so much goddamn water.
yeah. I mean, I don't know what the percentage of Canada that is water.
Yeah, my dad used to sneak um, whiskey and coffee on
20
on the
20%. Oh wait, no, 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 I'm wrong.
uh,
Uh,
yeah, my dad used to on fishing trips with grandpa. Grandpa would drive the boat, and dad would pour a travel mug of coffee and then pour like whiskey or rum or whatever into his
Yeah.
coffee.
It's about 10% of Canada's total area is covered by fresh water.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Wow.
It's a lot of water.
I mean, because Canada's a BFC, it's a big country.
Yeah.
And to have 9 or 10, I guess it's 9 or 10%, depending on how you look at it, being covered by water. That has to be a substantial. Oh, look. Okay, it's 20% of the world's fresh water is contained in Canada.
Yeah.
You are not going to run out of water, my friend.
No.
That's interesting. So
I have not heard until I saw this next story
hmm,
about. Have you heard about the COVID hospital fire in Iraq at all?
I heard a report about a fire in Iraq, and somebody suggested that there was COVID being treated there, but I didn't care enough to look and see, what about it. What did you think about the story?
So I have this. I'm about to pull it
If
up
you put
here.
it up, I'll
It's
take a whack
from
at it.
it's from the Toronto Sun.
Hmm.
And the death toll is mounting,
Imagine my
as
shock.
as it would
Yeah,
in a fire where people are already being treated for respiratory ailments. Ninja, what are you doing? I have a cat in here, and he's
no,
perched on top of the housing for the wheel, like the mechanism for the elliptical, and he keeps like shifting.
oh,
It's kind of
oh,
weird.
yeah.
Okay, so we have this here. So this is from the Toronto Sun. It's from yesterday.
Is it the AP story? Is it the
So it says the
here? Let me take a quick
yeah.
look at it. Let's see. Okay, the death toll from a fire that tore through. Hang on one second.
It's up on the screen.
Yeah, let me. Yes, in fact, I have the same story. I bet this is the same story. I'm reading. This is from the AP. This is directly from the AP.
Oh, okay,
And it's the same text exactly.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, the death toll from a fire that swept through a hospital coronavirus ward climbed to 92 on Tuesday. Iraq's state news agency reported as anguished relatives buried their loved ones and lashed out at the government over the country's second such disaster in less than 3 months.
Good
Health
God.
officials Yes, health officials said that scores of others were injured in the blaze that erupted Monday at Al Hussein Teaching Hospital in unpronounceable. The tragedy cast a spotlight on what many have decried as widespread negligence and mismanagement in Iraq's hospitals after decades of war and sanctions. Prime Minister Unpronounceable Al Unpronounceable convened an emergency meeting and ordered the suspension and arrest of the health director in unpronounceable province, the hospital director, and the city's civil defense chief. The government also launched an investigation. The prime minister called the catastrophe a deep wound in the consciousness of all Iraqis. Two Iraqi health officials, speaking on condition of anonymity in line with regulations, disputed the reported death toll, saying 88 had been killed. Okay, but it's still awful. The
I'm sorry,
authorities
that
at
total over 4 people. Fuck off.
the cause. Authorities at one point said the fire was caused by a short circuit. Another official said the blaze erupted when an oxygen cylinder exploded.
Oh,
The
God.
officials were not authorized to talk to the news media and spoke on condition of anonymity. In April, at least 82 people, many of them coronavirus patients or their relatives, were killed in a fire at a Baghdad hospital that broke out when an oxygen tank exploded. Iraq's health minister resigned over the disaster, saying buying the exploding oxygen tanks was a mistake. In the holy city of Najaf, the dead from from unpronounceable were laid to rest. Mourning families stood over the coffins at a mosque to say one last prayer. Their tears were tinged with anger, some saying the disaster could have prevented if they hadn't fucking bought exploding oxygen tanks.
Right? Why would
Who's doing the thinking there? So,
and to say buying those tanks was a mistake. That's like a slap in the face.
It really was.
That's like
they blame both the provincial government and the central government in Baghdad, interestingly enough.
As they should.
Unpronounceable, who witnessed the blaze, said it began with smoke, but everyone ran away, the workers and even the police. A few minutes later, there was an explosion. He said the firefighters arrived an hour later. Yeah, that's what Islamofascism. That's an Islamofascist state right there. The whole state system has collapsed, and who paid the price? The people inside here. These people have paid the price. Unpronounceable seethed at the scene. Overnight, firefighters and rescuers, many holding flashlights using blankets to smother smaller fires, searched through the ward as dawn broke. Bodies covered with sheets could be seen laid out on the ground outside the hospital. Distraught relatives searched for traces of their loved ones amid charred blankets and belongings. Unpronounceable, a volunteer who dashed to the scene, said he found the bodies of 2 young girls locked in embrace.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
Why? Like, yeah, let's cheap out and buy the exploding oxygen tanks.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
And then let's just be like, oh yeah, that was a mistake.
Just, who's doing the thinking there? You got to wonder how terrified they must have been. They died hugging each other. The ward opened 3 months ago, contained 70 beds in 3 large halls. Somebody from something in Iraq's government, and the building was constructed from cheap, flammable materials. He said, we thought we were saving money by getting the napalm-filled wallboard, but that napalm filling really turned out to be very flammable. Nobody told us about that. Napalm, flammable, blew our minds. Anyway, somebody, a cleaner at a hospital, said the ward had only 4 fire extinguishers and no fire alarm system. Like, if it's an oxygen tank explosion, you're not worried about fire extinguishers. Fire trucks ran out of water very quickly, he said. Doctors have long complained. You can have all this by just adopting socialism. Doctors have long complained of lax safety at Iraq's hospitals, especially around oxygen cylinders, and have described the institution as ticking bombs. Max Skelton, a medical sociologist focused on Iraq, said chaos and neglect in Iraq's public hospital since the U.S.-led invasion in 2003 have given rise to toxic distrust between patients and doctors. Yet the real problem is critical race theory. Anyway, doctors in COVID-19 wards often say they avoid confronting patients' families who are mishandling oxygen tanks for fear they will react violently. But families say that they have legitimate fears about leaving the lives of their vulnerable loved ones up to medical staff that they regard as under-resourced, overburdened, and disinterested. That just must be hell over there. Iraq is I know. Iraq is in the midst of another severe COVID-19 surge. New cases per day peaked last week at 9,000. Iraq's war-crippled health system has struggled to contain the virus. The country has recorded 17,000 deaths and 1.4 million confirmed cases. The UN is probably going to, I don't know, in years past, I think they would have done something. I think that they're feeling overwhelmed right now. Fear and widespread mistrust of the public health sector have kept many from seeking hospital care. Unpronounceable, who rushed to evacuate his own COVID-19 stricken father from the building after the fire broke out, swore he wouldn't take the older man back to a hospital. He wants me to take him home. It's better to die of coronavirus than being burned alive. This unpronounceable guy named said. The disaster is likely to stoke public discontent towards Iraq's political establishment ahead of October elections, said also unpronounceable, an Iraq specialist at the Brookings Institution. Unpronounceable has been at the heart of past revolutions in Iraq. Given this entire atmosphere built up around the city, she said, you can imagine that something as tragic as this event, where people who were already vulnerable were killed in a needless accident, will create more public anger. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen.
I would. That's horrible. I'd rather die of COVID than be burned alive.
Yeah,
What a
that's
choice.
those
Do
are the
I
choices.
die? Do I die of basically suffocating to death?
We can have this as soon as we want it. We can have this just as soon, anytime we want it.
Like, do I die of a horrible respiratory infection, or do I get burned to death by possibly exploding oxygen tanks?
Dude, that's not an unfair characterization at all. I don't know what to tell you.
What a choice. What a choice.
So, what happened with the Stanley Cup? Oh,
So, my team didn't win it, unfortunately.
oh,
They lost in Game 5.
who were they
So
playing?
The Tampa Bay Lightning.
Tampa
Which is
should not have
which
a
is
hockey team.
which is populated with mostly French Canadians. Anyways,
Yeah,
so
yeah. Canada, used to be said. I mean, back when I was in high school, virtually the entire NHL was Canadian.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, it was 96% Canadian, and that was it was unusual.
Now it's like Canadian and Russian.
Yeah, there's a lot of Russians. So there's Poland, I think, is over. Is it Poland or Finland? It's one of them that's overrepresented. One of those Eastern European countries.
So apparently it got struck by lightning, and it's been dented.
No, it did. No. There was a beer-soaked parade, and the Tampa Bay Lightning dented the thing when they were throwing it around.
Oh, now they definitely don't deserve to win that thing.
For the third time in 10 months, a Tampa Bay team reveled in a boat parade to celebrate its victory in the quest for a championship trophy. If you scroll down a little bit, I'll read the rest of it. It says, on Monday, the Stanley Cup had by far the roughest go. Oh, go back up a little bit.
Oh, sorry.
Go back up one.
Better?
There you go. On Monday, the Stanley Cup had by far the roughest go of it at some point during the Tampa Bay Lightning's beer-soaked celebration of its triumph last week over the Montreal Canadiens. The cherished trophy received a large dent. An image that went viral showed Tampa forward Pat Maroon holding a damaged cup. And that was actually the picture we saw just a second ago. Was him holding what is obviously a dented but not seriously cup. Go down just a little bit farther, just a little bit. There. It wasn't initially clear what happened to the Stanley Cup. It reportedly appeared intact during the latter stage of the celebration after Lightning players and staff had left the water and headed to a park for a planned rally that was cut short because of weather befitting the team's name. The cup will be sent to Montreal for repairs, leading to inevitable jokes about how that is as close as fans there will come to it, and the Lightning will get it back in approximately a week, according to reports, to resume the team's celebration and further denting. Per NHL tradition, championship squads get 100 days with the cup, allowing each significant contributor to spend a day with the trophy. So that's the way that's parsed out. You go down a little bit, I think there's a little bit more to it. Oh no, that's the end of the story.
That just makes they need to understand that's just gonna make the Canadians want it even more next year.
Oh yeah,
that's
they already wanted a lot. I didn't realize that the Habs were in the in the finals.
Oh yeah, we got we got really close this year. Um, it
And why do
was
they call them the Habs?
because it's short for the les habitants,
They
the
the people who live there.
people who live there. Yep,
Yeah, that's where that comes from.
they're
I just wanted you to tell that story.
and they and I actually they were the last time they won was 93.
Yeah,
Yep, 93. And my uncle and I and my mom actually went to the parade.
when was the last time Toronto won?
67.
That's the one that's been a pretty significant time.
Yeah.
And I remember in high because I was in high school then. I remember they were good.
Yeah, they were good like once upon a time.
Yeah, in 1967, I remember them being good. I remember people talking about them. That was about when I was becoming aware of the Stanley Cup. I had played hockey living in Colorado.
Yeah.
Pond hockey is a thing,
Yes.
and especially at 7,000 feet up in the mountains, where the water freezes on the ground and it stays frozen on the ground. 2/3 of the year, the in some places, and we that was very popular, and then played all through high school and skated with a hockey club in college, uh, playing a little hockey here and there. That was awesome.
Mm.
I love the game. Love sport. I stopped watching professional sports about, I would say, 3, 4, maybe 5 years ago now.
Selecta Boy says the Maple Leafs were handed a Stanley Cup victory and they blew it. Well, they blew it. They blow it every year. Selecta Boy, every goddamn year. They get to the playoffs.
Yeah,
They get to maybe the quarterfinals.
this is the Maple Leafs you're talking
Yeah.
about.
Yeah. And then they fuck it up. They always fuck it up. They always get to and it's really funny because every year their fans are like, "This is the year," because they get to the playoffs every year. And they're like, they're going to get it this year. They're going to get it this year. And then they get it to the quarterfinals. Maybe if they're lucky they get to the semis.
Yeah.
And then they fuck up.
Yeah.
And they fuck up spectacular. Like they get to the semifinals and they get like a sweep. The other team just sweeps
They
them.
just don't even come to work.
And it's like, really, boys? and then the Montreal Canadiens, they get to the playoffs and then they turn it up. Like they get to the play, you're like, okay, they can't possibly turn it up even anymore. They've been playing like crazy all season. Nope.
Then they go to town. I think it's wonderful. I really do wish they had won. No team in Florida
No.
should be winning, has any business even playing hockey. No hockey should be played in Florida.
Yeah, that's what I said
Changed
when
my mind.
Nashville got a fucking hockky team. I'm like, why does Nashville have a hockey team? What the fuck?
It just doesn't make any sense to me. So, but I mean, it's good that hockey is popular and lots more people are playing hockey. I thought it was a great sport. It's an unbelievable conditioning sport. People don't realize how hard hockey players work. They think it's pretty relaxed.
Oh, hockey is insane.
Hockey will take it out of you. Go out and skate as hard as you can for 2 minutes.
Even house hockey, like for just like
just to move your body around,
move
like
your
that.
body around. Like my uncle played house hockey, and holy crap, whenever he was done his game or his practice, and we would get in the car with him, it was like, dude, you're hitting the shower when we get home. You understand that, right? It would be like January and we'd have the windows down in the car because he was like, dude, you smell horrible.
Poor guy.
but it was
All in a
like,
good cause. All in a
yeah,
good
all
cause.
for sure, all in a good cause. Let's see. I think I have another story
Yeah, what do you got?
here.
We'll go a little bit long here.
Yeah, I've
We
got.
started a little bit after.
Yeah, we did. So let's see. Oh no, that's the one that I was gonna save for something else. Where is it here? Here we go. What is this headline here? Okay, so we're gonna take a quick look at this because it made
Yeah.
me laugh. So, a lawyer in Manitoba is filing a misconduct claim because a private investigator was following the chief justice, I think, of the province. So we're gonna take a quick look at that and
Yeah,
find out
if you throw that up there, I'd be very interested in
why
that
on
story.
earth that was happening. Because you normally wouldn't do that.
No, that is um, above and beyond. Need to find
Yeah,
out
I would
what
say
is
so.
really going on there. What is,
For,
people do things for reasons. People uh, exacerbate things and escalate things for a reason. There we go.
so
All right.
let's move
Lawyer
down.
files misconduct complaint after private investigator hired to follow Manitoba Chief Justice. This is
Yes.
just not done, says lawyer who filed complaint. Oops. I
Sorry.
didn't get to read the rest of that. There we go. He believes criminal charges should follow. Okay, now go down. Now go down past the pictures. I,
Criminal charges should absolutely follow.
absolutely. Go just a little bit more down. Just a
Uh,
teensy. Okay, a human rights lawyer, thank you, is filing a professional misconduct complaint against the lawyers representing 7 churches fighting public health orders after one admitted to hiring a private investigator to follow a Manitoba judge presiding over the case. John Carpe, the head of Calgary based Justice Center for Constitutional Freedoms, which launched the court challenge on behalf of the group of churches and individuals, admitted in court on Monday that his organization hired the private investigator to follow the Court of Queen's bench Chief Justice Glenn Joyal. Ottawa human rights lawyer Richard Warman told CBC News he filed a complaint with the Law Societies of Manitoba and Alberta that same day. It's probably the most egregious case of professional misconduct that I've heard of in quite some time. I would certainly hope that the Law Society of Manitoba and the Law Society of Alberta will sanction in the strongest possible terms to make it clear that it's completely and utterly unacceptable for a member of the bar to engage in this kind of conduct.
well, yeah,
Period.
because it's so these were, you know, hired by churches who I think they were upset with being closed because of COVID, I think is the
Yeah, what
public
says
health
Joyal said
orders.
in court that he realized he was being followed by a vehicle on July 8th when leaving the Manitoba Law Courts building in downtown Winnipeg and driving around the city. The private investigator even followed him to his private residence and had a young boy ring his doorbell, as he called it. Just kidding. While he wasn't home in an attempt to confirm where he lives. The private investigator also followed him to his cottage, Joyal said. Carpe said in a statement that the decision was meant to hold officials accountable and was his own initiative. He said he did not discuss it with Justice Center clients, staff lawyers, or members of the board. Go
Hold
down a little
officials
bit.
accountable for what?
Okay.
That's just crazy.
Yeah, that's during the court hearing. Joyal said that Carpe's colleague Jay Cameron, who is also working on the Carter challenge of public health orders, on the charter challenges of public health orders, knew about the private investigator for some time. Mr. Cameron, as counsel for the applicant, was not party to the private investigator's retainer, but became aware of it a couple of weeks ago. The Chief Justice said, Manitoba. Okay. Carpe apologized to Joyle, calling it an error in judgment. He
Okay.
says no other judges have been followed. Carpe did not identify the private investigator.
So I'm sorry, this completely negates any fucking charter challenge that you may hope to
Yeah, explain what a
file.
charter challenge is.
So a charter challenge is so these churches would have been filing a challenge against being closed under the right to assemble for religious, like the right for religious
Religious
freedom,
freedom, right?
which is guaranteed in the Charter of Rights and Freedoms in Canada.
Okay.
So that would be called the Charter Challenge.
It's like what we call a constitutional challenge.
Yeah.
All right.
Now, this idiot,
And
in
he
his
is.
zeal to get this Charter Challenge uh, either seen or passed,
Mm-hmm.
has set up his own charter challenge in having a judge followed by a private investigator simply because he's a judge on the charter challenge case.
Wow, that would violate no law in the United States.
Really?
Yep. Our Fourth Amendment is very selective. And uh, when it comes to uh, when there is a perceived conflict with the First Amendment, the Fourth Amendment vanishes.
Mm.
And that's a good thing.
So like this guy, he should like I don't even know what he was thinking to have this judge followed,
Oh,
because
just a complete total
there's no
overreaction, error in judgment. It probably really is that. It probably really is nothing more than that.
yeah,
The
yeah.
question is whether or not he broke the law.
I don't think he broke the law, but what he did do is definitely probably grounds to disbar him. I would say. I would say he definitely violated his
Just under
ethics as
the
a lawyer.
unbecoming conduct
Yeah,
statutes
I would
of
say
the
that
bar.
he violated his ethics as a lawyer, and I would
Yeah,
say that the bar associations of Manitoba would be wise to
suspend his license
either
or
suspend him or disbar him
yeah.
for his actions. I do not think that
It's
he
the kind of
actually broke any laws.
yeah.
Um, because I don't think there is a law that says you can't you can't do that. But he definitely violated his ethics.
Yeah.
Absolutely violated his ethics, and it's very obviously you are overseeing this charter challenge, and I'm mad at you because you're overseeing this charter challenge, so I'm gonna have you followed, which is yeah,
Yeah. That's
it's
way beyond,
yeah.
way outside normal.
I
I don't
would
even know
say
what to
he
say.
at least deserves a suspension, at
Oh,
most deserves a disbar.
yeah. that
That's just dumb.
if you are going to hold members of the bar to a higher standard, then you have to enforce that standard periodically.
Absolutely.
And that guy's behavior was, that's it. It's almost childish, isn't it?
Well, and it's really amusing because he's saying that he was doing it to hold the officials in charge accountable, and it's like, well, where's your accountability? What are like
Right,
you're
exactly.
completely violating your ethics as a lawyer.
Yeah, where's
Like
exactly
what
your accountability to your oath that
could
you
you
took when you joined the
imagine?
bar?
Could you imagine a defense attorney for a criminal case hiring a private investigator to follow the judge and the like or the crown prosecutor?
Oh
Like
man,
what
no
the
kidding. What are you thinking?
what the fuck are you doing, dude?
And people think that private eyes, that professional investigators have ethics. They don't.
No.
They do not.
No, they don't. They're not gonna be like, oh, I don't think that's a good idea. They're
When I
gonna be
say
like,
when I say they don't, what I mean is they don't have to.
no,
You can always find unethical ones.
of course.
There are many
And there's
ethical private
always
investigators.
somebody who will look at the amount of money that you are willing to pay them
Mm-hmm.
and go, okay.
Yep. So there you go.
Oh no,
What's up? What happened?
Pink Hollow. There goes my
He
speeding
he
ticket
got
record.
he got a speeding ticket. Fuck.
Luckily, they reduced it to another $50 ticket. 15 over is better than 30. They lowered the speed limit on that
Oh,
road,
that's
and I
fucked up.
forgot.
That's fucked up.
It was 80, now it's 60. Oops. Well, at least you didn't get caught going what's it called? 40 over.
No kidding.
They reduced the stunt driving laws in
Mm-hmm.
Ontario. So if you are driving on a road that is the speed limit is posted for under 80 kilometers an hour, and you are going over 40 kilometers an hour over the speed limit,
Mm-hmm.
you are charged with stunt driving.
With what driving?
Stunt driving.
Stunt driving.
Yes. Well, we're having a really big problem with dumbasses street racing right now.
Stunt driving. Okay. Yeah, no, I hear you. Actually, that was a
So,
plague in the United States back in the 1950s and early 60s in the U.S.
mm,
That was a big problem. It was even a problem into the 70s, quite frankly. And there were a lot of young people killed at those things. There
well,
still are.
that's what's going on is that there are dumbasses like street racing on the 400 series highways
Yeah.
and like killing themselves and other people.
When you say the 400 series highways,
So up
where
here, that is our main highway system in Ontario. Is
in
the
Ontario, it's called the
400
400 series.
series.
Everything starts with 4.
So there's like the 401 and the 407 and the 407's the toll road. But the 427 and the 403 and the 402 and the 400.
If they all, if they all say 4, what is 4 significant of?
I'm not sure.
Is it counting over from the eastern provinces to the west, like the United States does? If you look in the United States at our interstate, you'll see that the even numbered highways go east and west, and the odd numbered highways go north and south. It's
Oh,
almost always true.
Pinkala says she didn't say it right. The new law is if you are in an 80 kilometers an hour, or if you are in an 80 kilometers or lower and go 40 over the speed limit, you get demerit points, a 2-week license suspension.
Ow.
4 demerit points, a 2-week license suspension, and a maximum of a $10,000 fine.
Fuck.
Oh, the 400 series highways is the Queen's Highland.
Ah.
The Queen's Highland, yep.
So there you go.
40 over in an 80 is different than 40 in a 100. Yeah, that's true,
Yeah.
Justin.
Yes. Very, very true. Fine insight.
All right, guys. That is, you've spent almost an hour and a half with us.
That went by
So
fast.
it did. And thank you all for joining us. I hope you enjoyed it.
Thanks for having me on.
Oh, always. Please come back Friday for another coffee stream, and I will be streaming on Twitch tonight at 11 o'clock. And I hope you will come by and watch. And Saturday, I'm still trying to figure out a good topic for Star Trek, but there will be a Star Trek stream on Saturday. So come and watch that too.
Absolutely. Bye, guys.
Bye.